and grab a speech or some talk I did to people, and then play that and almost exclusively play one thing, then it would give you a picture of me that is not an evolved picture of where my thinking is today. All right? And so that is what has happened with Dr. Martin Luther King. He has been reduced to one speech of a dream of holding hands with white people, which is what the white media wants us to continue to dream about. Dr. Martin Luther King, as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has said many times, he has said that they don't give you the right picture of Dr. King, and that he was assassinated not because he had a dream, but because he woke up. And do not forget to tell your children that Dr. Martin Luther King said that his dream that he talked about in 1963 had become in many ways a nightmare. So I want you to, we got to give the full context of it. Now, some of you believe, and we wanted to show you the words of Dr. King where he was talking about being black and beautiful and the definition of black in the dictionary. The same thing that Malcolm was preaching about in the 50s and 60s, the same thing that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was preaching about in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, looking at the definition of black. Everything black had a bad connotation, a bad or negative meaning, right? For the most part. Whenever you have hard times, you call it a black day. Whenever you try to extort somebody, you call it blackmail, right? And when you play the game of pool, the white ball knocks in all the other balls of color and saves the black ball for last, all right? So even in your games, there is this white supremacist overtone in the games that people play, all right? And that programs the mind in a certain way. Jesus was pictured as white. All of the angels white. Wash me white as snow. All of these things hit the mind. And what Dr. Martin Luther King began to deal with is not just the laws in the land, but he began to deal with the thinking in the mind, which is what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and now the Honorable Louis Farrakhan deal primarily with. Because if the black man's thinking changes, his condition will change. It is primarily the thinking. Yeah, I know we must have reparations. But the thing that must happen for reparations to be meaningful is that our thinking about ourselves must change. You got to have the right thinking. Because if you give a fool $1 million,